You're watching Alabama's WVUA News at 6 with your award-winning news team, Lynn Brooks, Philip Coleman, weather with Richard Scott, and sports with Gary Harris.
Tonight on WVUA News at 6, it's been 1 year since the death of Osama bin Laden. Now the U.S. government is releasing some of the documents that were seized during that raid.
Also, and back here in West Alabama, residents in one community are dealing with a sewage leak that could make its way into the Black Warrior River. But first, recovery continues to bring famous faces to West Alabama just 1 year after the April 27th tornadoes.
NASCAR driver Denny Hamlin spent the afternoon in Alberta City today.
Hamlin, along with his primary sponsor, FedEx, partnered with the Salvation Army to welcome the Torres family into their new home. The family's original home was destroyed during last April's storms. The new home was built by the United Methodist Committee of Relief. The new homeowner, Benjamin Torres, is a United States Army veteran. FedEx also presented the local Salvation Army chapter with a check for $10,000, and part of that donation went toward furnishing the family's new home. Hamlin says this house is a way to give Torres thanks for his military service to this country. And Torres says this will be a nice change from the small home that he had been living in.
This is just, amazing. Everybody gets their own room now, and we can have air, and he, you enjoy the little things. You appreciate the little things that you didn't have.
He's done so much for our country that it's great to see that, he's got a house now. He's right here in the middle of the past. So I'm sure he'll never forget of what used to be here.
The search for the University of Alabama's new president is underway. This comes nearly 2 months after the University of Alabama Board of Trustees named Dr. Robert Witt the system's new chancellor. A committee of 24 met today at the Bryant Conference Center to begin the selection process and also to get acquainted with one another. The committee is made up of a variety of UA staff, students, and alumni. Former President Dr. Robert Witt is also a member of that committee. Kelly Reinhart with the University of Alabama says there's no set timeline on the search.
The process will be thorough, it will be efficient, and certainly they will be mindful of keeping it on a significant track, but they're not going to let themselves be hamstrung by any artificial timeline.
On your home team crime watch, a Northport man arrested in connection with a shooting along the Strip. Tuscaloosa police say this happened around 1:30 this morning at the Bear Trap after a fight. Police say around 10 people got into a fight in the street. Brandon Taylor is accused of firing multiple shots into the air during the fight and has been charged with carrying a pistol without a permit. Police say no one was injured. Meanwhile, authorities in Huntsville say shots were fired into the U.S. Space and Rocket Center's Davison facility this morning. Reportedly, 3 shots were fired into that building that houses the Saturn V rocket, and the shots apparently came from the outside the Davison Center and struck windows of that building. Authorities say there were no reports of injuries, and the scene is secure. Huntsville police say the shooting remains under investigation.
6 people were let off in handcuffs this morning from the Alabama State House after protesting the state's immigration law. Capitol Police took into custody 6 adults who kneeled in protest outside the Senate chamber. Authorities say the 6 refused orders by security to move. 2 senators who oppose Alabama's tough immigration law, Democrats Bobby Singleton and Quentin Ross, kneeled with the protesters but were not led away. The protesters are being held until lawmakers decide whether to file charges.
The Alabama Department of Public Health has confirmed that the city of Uniontown's sewage system has been and still is overflowing into Cottonwood Creek. And for residents that live in Perry and Hale counties, officials say you should not fish or swim in the affected waters until the problem is resolved. And if you live in Tuscaloosa, This also concerns you because Cottonwood's waters eventually flow into the Black Warrior River. However, local officials say the contaminated water, if it does reach Tuscaloosa, it should be diluted by that time and should not be much of a concern. But they do urge residents to remain cautious.
Use caution and again, avoiding ingesting it and bathing yourself and washing your hands and stuff until the situation resolves.
And as we stated earlier, the health department is urging Hale and Perry County residents to avoid swimming or fishing in the affected bodies of water until this problem is resolved. And if you are showing any symptoms of bacteria-related diseases, see your doctor right away.
Still ahead, the U.S. government is now releasing some of the documents seized during a raid on the home of Osama bin Laden. We'll have the details.
And coming up to home team weather, shower and storms starting to move out of the area. We go dry for the weekend, but a passing storm still possible. How hot's it going to get, though? We'll talk your forecast coming up, so stay with us.
And the Bama baseball team is running out of opportunities to qualify for the SEC tournament. Gary Harris will have the very latest on that coming up in Alabama's Home Team Sports.